The claim is that polar bears will become extinct due to climate change, when the fact is polar bears would not exist if it weren't for climate change. Climate change is the reason polar bears exist. As the Earth cooled over the last 50 million years, around 3 million years ago, the Arctic started to freeze over in the winters. Prior to that, there'd been no ice in the Arctic for 250 million years. The polar bear evolved from the Eurasian brown bear, which we call the grizzly bear. It came here across the land bridge like people did during a glacial maximum. We don't know which one. It may have been the one we came across, the most recent one, or it may have been a previous one. But polar bears evolved much earlier than that from the Eurasian brown bear. When ice started to cover the Arctic in significant amount, the Eurasian brown bear went out onto the ice and found that it could hunt seals. But it made sense for the Eurasian brown bear to become white in the Arctic, to become larger, to be strong enough to pull these very big fat seals out of their breathing holes, and to develop a different digestive system that was more for carnivorous, whereas the brown bear ate a lot of berries, just like bears do all over the place where there's berries. So this is how the polar bear came into existence, and it probably took about 500,000 years during this Pleistocene Ice Age for the polar bear to evolve from the Eurasian brown bear. So no, climate change does not threaten the polar bear with extinction, and the polar bear would not exist if it weren't for climate change. National Geographic, 2017. This is what climate change looks like. This is a dying old polar bear, probably lost all its teeth by now. But the main cause of death in polar bears is starvation, because they can't hunt anymore and they can't chew anymore, and there are no nursing homes for old polar bears. And even at this stage of their dying, they can swat away anything that would come anywhere near them, even a people. They could just go whack and take your face off, right? So they're not going to be killed by something before they die of starvation. That is what happens. And it took them 9 months in National Geographic to slightly own up to the fact that this was malarkey. They always show you the picture on the bottom right when they show you Arctic ice. That is the minimum extent of Arctic ice in the summer when there's 24 hours of sunlight for 6 months. So at the end of that 6 months, that's what you get. The picture on the upper left is the winter, the most recent winter, showing that the ice not only covers every square inch of the Arctic Ocean still today, but also spreads much further to Hudson Bay, inside Greenland, inside the Beaufort Sea. This is what's happening right now. It has not stopped covering the whole Arctic Ocean. And the food chain diagram below shows that the good thing about there being ocean exposed in the summer is that the sun can reach the surface of the sea, promote plankton, which promotes zooplankton, which promotes fish, which promotes seals, which promotes polar bears. How many of you have heard of the international treaty that was signed by all 5 Arctic nations in 1973 to end the unrestricted hunting of polar bears? 2, 3, 4, 5. They never tell you that. You have to have figured that out yourself or seen it somehow, but the media is never going to tell you that. Wildlife biologists came to the governments of those countries and said, rich people are coming up here in charter planes and hiring Inuit guides and getting some fireplace rugs. And the population is declining. Since then, the population has increased by 4 to 5 times to today, 50 years. Here is the statistics. 1973 population, 6,000 to 8,000. 2020 population, 30 to 50,000. Here's what the Inuit people, Nunavut is the name of the treeless area of Canada in the northeast, including Baffin Island and northern Quebec, where there's no trees. That's where the polar bears are. The Nunavut people have a government in Iqaluit, which is in the south of Baffin Island, and they have passed a polar bear management plan 2 years ago because there's too many bears. They're breaking into their houses and killing their people. The media did not cover this in Canada and the United States, that the Inuit thought there was too many polar bears and they passed a polar bear management plan allowing people to defend themselves from polar bears. The only place it was reported was in a town in Nunavut of 1,600 people. The many millions of people didn't hear about this any more than they heard about the 1973 treaty, which has been enforced thoroughly since then. That's why there's 30 to 50,000 polar bears now.